I'm Rebecca Spencer and I'm a fashion photographer based here in London, and I create content for brands and influencers and work alongside them to help create the most engaging content that works well over social media. So today I've set up a content creation shoot which I'm working with two models that I've met over on Instagram, and I'm going to share with you guys all my top tips of how I create content creation and what I've learned over the years. And I think before I get into the main part of the video where I share all of my tips, I just thought I'd bring you guys into my camera bag and show you all of the kit that I like to use and that I could not live without. So first things first, in the camera bag has to obviously be the camera, and I am a Canon shooter and I just love the colours that it creates, and it's just my go-to camera. I feel like I can now use this with my eyes closed, which is like a really lovely feeling as a photographer. So I like to shoot on the 24-70 2.8 lens. I am obsessed with this lens. I used to shoot mainly prime lenses, but I just felt like I needed a bit more from my lens. Like I wanted to zoom out, zoom in. So I tend to shoot with this. I feel like this has really become my style. So I don't really tend to use much else. And I just never feel the need to really go for another lens unless I was shooting more beauty. I feel like this lens is really good for like street style and like full body. And I remember when I discovered this lens, for me it was like a real moment actually in my time as being a photographer, because I felt like, okay, that's the kind of imagery and composition that I really wanted to create. But the next thing I want to talk about is the Pro Photo A1 Flash. When I say this changed my life, it changed my life. It has opened up so many more opportunities for me. I'm quite a fast shooter, and I feel like this flash is super fast, and it's just amazing for when you're shooting like events as well, I have to say. And whenever I'm doing like content creation and stuff, this has really changed the game for me, because I feel like you can make anything look quite glossy. I feel like it gives it like that glowy look flash. It's super quick as well, and could not live without this flash. Also, when you're doing content creation, there's normally like a time limit on where you are, and there might be some looks that are a bit more evening, or something that you want a bit more of like a Tumblr flash disposable film vibe. And I feel like playing around with this flash gives you the option to do that. So also just want to jump on and show you guys some examples which I have used this flash to create these kind of images at events. And my job at these events is to create content creation for the influencer only. So this is for them to want to post about it on Instagram, and I feel like I get really creative with this, and I kind of create like a little like mini consultation with everyone, and then just make sure that we create something really cool. And having to work on this demand, like my flash has really come into like a massive part of my workflow when working at events. Also, I love to experiment with flash in all different ways, and one way that I'm absolutely loving right now, and I've been trying to incorporate this within all of my work, is shooting flash in daylight. I feel like it kind of gives you like a bit of a film disposable vibe, and then I feel like it also like just pops colours a bit more. The one on the left, you can actually see it was a really dull day, but I feel like the flash really lifted the colours in the field. And then the middle one was actually a fashion shoot for London Fashion Week, and where we were shooting, the buildings were really tall. I just felt like you weren't getting that pop on the glasses, which is what it was for. It's for a sunglasses brand. So I felt the need to kind of put my flash on and, you know, get experimental with this. And an example of how I've used this in the final shot, which you can actually see is a really sunny day, so you would think, why would you use your flash? But I felt like this kind of really like gave it that really film Tumblr vibe, and I really love the way it's turned out. So the next thing, which I feel like changes photography for content creation, is playing around with filters that go actually on your lens. And I feel like this can like really get creative with this, and you can really create different types of content. So my favorite is the Black Pro Mist filter and the Star filter, which can create like blurry atmosphere shots, and it can make like lens flares like really glossy, or it can even make like some light look a bit like glitter. So it's like a real in-camera version of Kira Kira, if you remember that app. So now I'm just going to jump on here with some examples of how I've used the Star filter within my work. And as you can see, it creates this amazing glitter effect in camera, which I just love to experiment with. And as you can see on the photo on the left, it was actually for a commercial job, which was for George Asda with Roma. And I love the way that the light hits the car and then you're getting this kind of glitter effect. We want to go this really 60s vibe on this photo shoot. And I also use a bit of infill flash as well, like the previous slides. And as you see on the left of the shot, you see that really like glitter pop coming out from the silver of the car. It's basically using like surfaces that are going to reflect light. And that's the way you get this really cool effect. In the middle photo, as you can see, I've used like a glittery item of clothing, which has really made this light pop. A really good way to also make this work is to use continuous lights, so like LED lights, and like direct it on the garment. And that way you can really experiment and like play around with the glitter effect that you may get. And in my third final shot here, this was a beauty test shoot, and I used like really glittery statement earrings and then also used the star filter to really lift the glitter and give that image that extra glittery vibe. I've really enjoyed incorporating this into my beauty work, as I feel like it makes the skin also look really, really soft, and again does give it that 60s vibe. So I just want to show you guys these images as well, which I shot for a beauty campaign, which was a Vive campaign. And again, as you can see, it's really making that skin super soft, glossy, and then you've also got like the glitter being lifted up from like reflective items in the shots. In the third image, you can actually see it's kind of given this really soft, like making the skin look really soft, and also like using the body oil on the skin with this filter also really heightens that. So let's talk memory cards. I feel like as a photographer, when working with content creation, you can never have enough memory cards. I feel like I just will never have enough. So my favourite for the Canon 5D Mark IV are these ones, which is the Extreme Disc. I feel like they're really reliable, super fast. I also have in my camera bag these amazing memory card boxes, which is just incredible to put everything together, and I colour coordinate them with these different straps so that I know which one has got my memory cards in. So also, if I am shooting with SD cards, I do again use the Extreme Pro ones. And another little tip when I am on shoot is I like to use this tape so I can like pull it over the cards. It doesn't affect the cards at all, but just so I know what's formatted, what's not, so it's easy to like grab them. Because with SD cards, it's a little bit harder to know because you can't put them in the opposite way. Where with these ones, if I'd shot on it and like, you know, I didn't want to delete anything, I'd just then pull it in that way. You're in control of what's been shot on and what hasn't, in like a visual way. So this has been a little addition to my camera bag, which is so tiny, but it has made such a difference to content creation because it is instant delivery. So sometimes on my content creation shoots, an influencer might need something there and then for a really quick deadline, and sometimes that's a bit like overwhelming because you don't know how you're going to get them over the images. So another thing I like to do is I would shoot directly to an SD card like this, and then I would put the SD card in this little slot here, and then this would go straight into your iPhone and puts the images directly on their phone. And that does also include RAWs, so it's amazing what you can get out of this little device. It's so powerful. So being super organized is so important as a photographer. So I have got this amazing case that I just love because it can go flat and like this, so it fits really well in different situations. But basically inside I have my 2 Pro Photo batteries, and then I also have 2 Canon batteries in here too, just so that I've always got everything, they're always fully charged. So this is like my backup case. So going back to lenses, I do own a 50mm 2.8 Canon lens, and I will use this if I'm shooting something a bit more beauty, or if I'm really wanting that kind of blurry background, then I would go to pick up this prime lens. But dominantly I do use the 24-70 2.8. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys some examples that I've taken on the 85mm. And the one on the left was a street style shoot, which was just a content creation shoot with me and Chloe. And it was really about focusing on them glasses, and we really tried to like get that movement shot. This shot took a while to get, but I was really happy with the result. The middle one was actually a commercial job, which was for Elegant Touch, which is is actually nails. Using the 50mm in the situation was definitely the right thing to do, and I really love the way that it gives that beauty elevated look and also does give you that blurry background. The third image, as you can see, was actually taken in a studio. Again, this was a commercial job, but also a content creation job for an influencer, which was all about the perfume. It was actually from Mugler, so definitely needed to use the 85mm in this situation. So hard drives are also a massive part of being a photographer because that's where you store all of your content, and I have found that these SanDisk ones are amazing. They're super fast. It's basically like one SD card, that's the way to see it. There's no plates in this, so nothing can break, so it's just one like SD like that. And honestly, I've had transferring images with a Lacey and this is 5 times quicker. So let's say you're on a photo shoot and you want to tether to your laptop using a program like Capture One, where you want the client or the content creator you're creating content for to see things on the screen. Then that way you would need to tether. And tethering is such an amazing tool. I love seeing the images come in. It stops you from having to transfer, and it's really rewarding to see your images come through on a screen and then everyone can come in and, you know, be a team and look at everything as a team together. So I use the brand Tether tool, and it's like these bright orange leads, which are really good as well because then obviously you can see it so no one really trips over it. So I love the colour orange for this. Another tip I have to say that has really upped my game for tethering is investing in something like a tether tool. So this allows the lead to connect to your bottom of your camera and keeps it more stable. So you just kind of pull it in like so, and then you'd plug that into the camera. And I just feel like it really stops with tethering issues. So this device has been amazing as well for content creation, thanks to platforms like TikTok and Instagram and Reels. And this has been great in the kit bag, and basically just put your phone in here and it just makes things glide a bit nicer. So another thing that can be really handy is a battery grip, which goes on the bottom of your camera, where you can basically put 2 batteries in one. So if you're shooting something like, for example, I used this once on like a campaign in a field where there was nowhere to charge stuff and like go back and change batteries, it would have been such a long walk. So for a time saver, and really, really helpful in that situation. Lens wipes are also super important to make sure you do this before every single shoot. Just make sure that your lens is clean. There's nothing worse. You shoot and then find out that there's a smear on the lens, because photoshopping that out, it just doesn't need to happen. Use a lens wipe, something to keep in the camera bag at all times. So now I'm going to go into the main video where I'm going to bring you onto a photo shoot with me, share with you my top tips to up your Instagram game on content creation. So I have been doing this for around 6 years now, and I've loved every single minute of it. It's been such an incredible journey. Content creation is so much fun. You can be so experimentative with it. Photography has taken me all around the world, from the Maldives, Mexico, Italy, Thailand, Bali. It's been so incredible. I've been able to meet some amazing people, PRs, brands, influencers, and it's been such an incredible experience. And I feel like I just learned so much from that experience. I feel like every shoot I learned something new. Canon have been with me on my journey from the very beginning. I think my first camera was the 1000D, then I went to the 7D, then I had the 5D Mark IV, and now I've got the Canon R5, and it has been a game changer for the way that I work and create content. My number one tip when I'm creating content as a photographer, and also when I am shooting my own content, is I love shooting on like a burst mode or a continuous mode, because I feel like that gets you so many images in one shot and you get that movement candid in between, and that's the bit you want. You want the bit where it's a little bit blurry or where you're kind of thinking, what is someone doing? I feel like that's where the real magic storytelling happens, creating content. So to enter this mode on your camera is super easy. So you need to go to your drive mode, which you can get from the front of your screen, and then I go to high speed continuous, and it creates this kind of sound, which is also super silent on the R5. The thing I love about this shutter sound is it's so silent that people don't really know you're taking pictures, and believe me, that's when you get the best ones. Shooting in this mode is super important in my workflow, and another thing I really love to do, and you may have seen this over on my Instagram, is I love creating blurry movement images. I love them, and I really feel like you guys should experiment with this and definitely try it on your next shoot.
So shooting purposely blurry has really become a massive part of what I do. So I just want to show you guys some examples of how I've used it within my workflow. It's amazing on street style shoots because I really feel like you get that kind of candid movement walk. And I actually quite like it, as you can see in the first two images, where it's also a little bit non-rec and you can't really see who it is. It also adds this other element of mystery. But also in the third shot, as you can see, I'm also using backlit. You're getting that gorgeous lens flare, but also she's kind of static, but you're also getting the cars which are like coming up blurry, which I also really like. So also just want to show you guys two other situations where I've also used this technique. The one on the left was a wedding, and I feel like this was like a moment in situation. I really love the vibe that you got from this image because it was like really in the moment of like the chaos after the wedding. And the one on the right was actually for a shoe campaign, but it was like nighttime. It's all about Valentine's Day. So I feel like this was also cool to play around with this at nighttime.
So first thing you'd need to do is put your camera onto manual and put your shutter speed down to a 30th of a second. On the R5, they also have a live view where you can really see what's going on in your frame. So that way I know which f-stop to set it to correct the right exposure. I'm also loving playing with the ISO, so I feel like on the R5 you can really push this feature, and I do love grain. And you're going to want your subject to be moving, doing something, and you can really get experimental with this. It really creates that kind of film vibe that's really popular right now. So you follow all of the trends, you've got to try this technique. So my tip number 2 is all about the content creation planning, which you do before your photo shoot. So the mood boarding, the concept, all the little things that you really want to get involved, and this part is so important to your photo shoot. So if I'm beginning a photo shoot and I'm starting a concept, the first thing I do will head to Pinterest, which I kind of grab all the little concepts and ideas and poses that I really want to create. And I kind of create like a bit of a photo dump of all of this. And I also get this from my saved on Instagram. And a random one is LinkedIn. I feel like I get so much inspiration from looking at photographers on LinkedIn. And then the next thing I do is I'll put all the imagery into a Canva document and I'll play around with different concepts and poses. Also, really big advice would be this isn't set in stone, and like don't stress yourself if it's not looking exactly the same. Like follow your instinct, make it yours, make it your style, and just play around with everything you can on the day. You want to have no regrets after a photo shoot. Obviously, some things don't go to plan on photo shoots, like you cannot control the weather, so if you do need to change things, it's absolutely fine to do that. And just literally follow your instinct. I always feel like my favourite imagery is the ones where I'm like, oh, I've got an idea, like very last minute as we're like leaving the photo shoot, and they always tend to be my favourite shots. And the reason why this document is so important and vital to have on a content creation shoot is to make sure that everyone's on the same page, everyone's happy with all the poses, and I feel like it's just so good to have it on hand so that everyone can refer back if they are feeling a bit lost. So you have to use Instagram as your platform to also network and also connect with other creatives. For today, as an example, I have messaged a model that I've also spoken to lots on Instagram called Lilia and her sister Bonnie, who are coming along to today's photo shoot. And the reason why the mood board is so important is that we've shared references with each other, we both know what we want, we're both on the same page, and I cannot wait to create the content today. So for today's mood board, we've gone very minimal, very classic Instagram, white background, lots of like big, bold styling, lots of monochrome, and we're gonna go quite non-rec, which is also another tip that I'm gonna put in there for you guys. I feel like non-rec imagery on Instagram performs so well because people look at it and they can actually see themselves in the image and they can relate to it so much more.
And if you don't know what non-rec means, I've just put in some references here, which I would call non-rec, that have performed really well on my Instagram. And I think the reason why they have performed so well is because you can't really see the person's face. So you can identify yourself within that image and you can relate to the story. You know, these are movement shots. You can't really see who it is. As you can see, I've done this lots with props and like hair movement, and also as simple as just asking your subject to walk away from you.
So lighting also comes into the mood board category because lighting is also how you want your images to look, and they're the feel and the theme of also your photo shoot. So for today's photo shoot, I think I'm going to try and keep it as much natural light as possible because we're in a really amazing space, but also I am going to play around with some on-camera flash as well, which I feel creates two different vibes, but also I feel like it's all going to align together well. So my third final tip is all about how you show up on Instagram and post your photo shoot and all of your content. Instagram has changed so much over the last 6 years. I've seen it change many times and it's constantly changing. So the way that I like to shop on Instagram is also using carousels, and I like to do this because I feel like Instagram is favouring this type of content at the moment. So I like to show a behind the scenes image, a mood board, a final image, a picture of me and the model, me and the client, and really like engage with your followers. Also, Reels are obviously being pushed so much at the moment on Instagram, so you've really got to be creative with this and find a way to show up and show your imagery using Reels. And to do this, I try to find like trending songs that are trending on TikTok but not quite trending on Instagram yet. So using that audio, and then also using interesting ways, using a mixture of montages of behind the scene content within my imagery, and just showing different ways of how you can show your work. Stories is also probably my favourite part of Instagram. I feel like I use that part of Instagram the most. I feel like I like sharing a behind the scenes of my life and just showcasing what you do. And that could be from your all behind the scenes, like little moments of thoughts that you're thinking, and also just mood boarding and connecting with other creators. Instagram have just done another update which is allowing you to pin images onto your Instagram. So I have literally done this yesterday and I'm obsessed with the way that this looks on my feed. So then that way I've got 3 images at the top of my feed that I think really talks about my style, who I am and what I do. So I would advise you now to go and add that feature to your Instagram. And another feature, which I know I mentioned earlier, is the saved feature on Instagram. I feel like it's made like a bit of a mini Pinterest, and I like create little albums of different things that I want to save. So for example, if you looked into my save, I have a models album, which is where I see a model that I really want to shoot with, but I'm not quite ready or quite sure which shoot I want that to be. I'll save that into an album and then I'll refer back to that when I want to use a model. I also do this with locations, concept ideas, and yeah, it's just a forever mood board. Treat Instagram as a bit of a platform where people are gonna know when you're posting as well. Like I feel like I like posting at a certain time, and that's when people expect to see content from me. So my time is around 8 AM. I feel like it's a really good time because of the algorithm, and then like people can see it throughout the day. So your Instagram is your business card. This is where people are gonna see you and see if they wanna book you for a job or to use you to create content for them. So on my Instagram, I think it's really also important to make sure your bio is like perfect, to the point, and explains who you are. So I use a feature called Linktree, which goes into your bio on Instagram, and this is a really good platform because it's like a hybrid of a link. So you click on that and then you have your website, my YouTube, my Amazon front store, where you can like look at all the equipment that I use. I thought this is a really good place for people to go to. Being a photographer, you have to be your own PR, and Instagram is also to me my contact book. Every single client I've ever worked with, I make sure I follow them and I engage with them, because this is your network. So my biggest tip of all is just to be consistent, be you. If you have an idea, go for it. You will never ever regret doing a content creation shoot. You will learn something from it every single time. I'm still learning now after 6 years. So my name's Rebecca Spencer, and I really hope you've enjoyed all of my tips and tricks, and I hope that they were helpful in some way. Come and join me now on my photo shoot, and then I'll see you after for the Q&A.